Hey, hello guys, welcome back. So, in this session, I will walk you through the process of creating a EC2 instance in AWS. Okay, so if you see here, this is a brand new account and it is walking through us kind of steps to understand the account, what are the things that we have and all. Okay. So the moment you log in, okay, it will take you to one of the regions. Now it took me by default to Tokyo, but it's up to you to choose which region you want to use for your practice and all. So the selection of the region primarily depends on various factors. So depending on the clients you have or depending on the kind of projects that you deliver to your client, so the selection of the region happens. So Amazon has around more than 20 plus regions altogether, well established regions, and each region has availability zones. Okay, so I'll show you the availability zones and all, but for now I would like to choose North Virginia as a region, or probably I'll go with Mumbai. So be it any region, the process of installing the or creation of EC2 instance will remain the same. So now I would like to create a EC2 instance. So here in the search bar, you can search for EC2. So EC2 basically stands for an elastic compute cloud. And you see the statistics here, resources. There is nothing running here, everything is zero, okay, because it's a brand new account. So by default, your account comes with certain default settings such as VPC. So VPC is a virtual private cloud, so which is a default network that Amazon gives us. So you don't have to do anything, it is there by default, and we will be using the default VPC for all our initial practice or initially working on things till we discuss in detail what VPC is and how do we create our own custom VPCs. Okay. And we can see in Mumbai, there are zones. And if you see here, these are the availability zones. There are 3 availability zones available in Mumbai. Okay. And so they are referred to as like availability zone 1A, 1B and 1C, and these are the specific zone IDs. So you don't have to remember the zone IDs, but you should at least know that there are 3 availability zones and they are referred to as 1A, 1B and 1C. So let me go ahead and then launch EC2 instance. See, on the left hand side you have all the options here. Okay, we will get into those details later on, but now our intention is to create an instance and I'm going to do that. So there are multiple ways through which you can provision EC2 instance. If you see here, so there is an option called launch instance, which you can select and it will take you to this page. Okay, cancel, or you can click on instances here and come back here and then say launch instance. So both are the same, it will take you to the same page. So in order to launch an instance, there are a few things that you will have to create or use an existing resources. So for now, you need to define the name of the instance. This is for you to understand what is the name that you refer to. So there could be multiple VMs available in inventory, but you should know which instance is yours and all. So I'm going to give this name as a test instance. Okay. And so try to follow the best naming conventions. So in the organizations, they follow naming conventions with respect to their project name or team name, followed by the environment, and then the application that is running inside it. So for me, it is a test instance. Okay. And applications and OS image, we call AMIs, Amazon Mission Image. So ideally, without cloud, we will have to create our own virtual machines. Meaning you will have to create a virtual server, map the ISO image and boot. Whereas in cloud environments, these images are already created. The installation procedure, the base operating system is already created, and that shared to us in the form of a AMI image, which is Amazon Machine Image. Okay, and here you can see these are all the default operating systems that Amazon is offering us. So I will go with the default settings and choose Amazon Linux. So Amazon Linux is AWS native operating systems, and which is kind of a which runs based on the Red Hat RPM manager, which is Red Hat package manager. It's a kind of flavor of Red Hat, the other flavor of Red Hat, but supported and maintained by Amazon. Okay, and you can see the details. It is running on Amazon Linux 2 on kernel version 5.10, and every AMI has a unique AMI ID, and you see this verified provider. So as part of your cloud journey, you might have to work with various vendors, providers, and sometimes without knowing, you might be using unauthorized images, which is not secure to your account. So make sure you're always provisioning the AMIs from the verified provider or verified vendor, so that there won't be any security concerns or violations in your organizations. And so we decided upon what operating system we want. So I'm choosing Amazon Linux here. And the next thing is size. So usually when we want to buy any hardware server, right, the first thing that we think is that how much of memory, how much of CPU, how much of disk we want. So here in Amazon, that is by default segregated in the form of our sizes. So usually depending on the size, we select, hey, I want a small t-shirt or a large t-shirt or extra large, right? So that defines the size or length, width, height and all. Whereas here, we are going to select the instance type, such as nano, micro, small, medium, large, extra large. So Amazon offers a free tier limit, and with that free tier eligibility, you can provision T2 micro instance with one virtual CPU and 1 GB memory. Okay. Key pair. So this might be new for most of you who are starting your journey in cloud or in to DevOps. So we will get into details of what it is in the later sessions. But for now, I will go ahead and create a new key pair. So I would recommend you to go ahead and create a new one. So test key, and key pair type is RSA, and private key format is, I would go with PPK. So if you are using Linux based operating systems like Mac OS, Ubuntu or any other Linux flavors, I would recommend you to download PEM files. If you are using Windows, then go ahead and use PPK. Okay. So mine is a Windows operating system, so I am willing to download a PPK file. Then create. So the moment you say create, it downloads a PPK for you. A file will be downloaded onto your local server, and that is called as a private key, which has to be secure. Okay. So this is required for you to log into your server. And networking, like we decided upon the hardware that we want, that is 1 CPU, 1 GB memory, and we selected the operating system. The next thing is we need to connect to the server. So in order to connect to the server, you should have a proper network configured. Like I said, we are already using the default VPC. You can see here, this automatically comes up, which is a default one. and subnets selection also will happen automatically. Now the thing is security group. So imagine security group is kind of a firewall. Okay. So if you don't know firewall, that's okay. So imagine security group as a watchman. Okay. So what is the purpose of a watchman? Watchman will allow someone to get into your premise, or he will restrict someone to go out into premise. So usually we don't have to tell watchman when we want to go out, right? So, or if you want to allow someone into your premise, you are supposed to tell him whom you are supposed to allow. So security group does the same thing for you. It's like, now we are creating a virtual machine. Now who should be getting into our premise? Now who can enter into my virtual machine, or who can access my virtual machine? So this is all defined with the help of a security group. So I'm going to create a new security group which allows SSH. So SSH is a secure shell. It's a protocol used to connect to our Linux servers. Okay. And I'm allowing SSH here. And if you can see, the name of the firewall security group will be Launch Wizard 1. If you want, you can change that. Okay. So click on edit. Just scroll down, and instead of Launch Wizard 1, let's say Test SG1. Okay, which is Test Security Group 1. And you can provide the better description. Hello SSH, and I'm going to use SSH. And every protocol has a port, okay, or every service has a port. Now for SSH, the port is 22. If I want, I can allow other ports as well, okay, but for now SSH should be fine. And storage, so I'm going to boot my virtual machine with 8 GB storage, and there are different storage types. Okay, so we can discuss them later, but for now I would like to choose all the default settings, because I do not want to make things complicated for you. So there are a lot of options available. We can go into detail later on in the sessions. And you can see the summary. I'm going to provision an Amazon Linux with T2 Micro, and I'm creating a new security group. I'm attaching a volume of 8 GB. All of this falls under the free type. So you will not be charged anything for provisioning this specific EC2 instance. Go ahead and launch instance. So you can see that the instance has been successfully launched. Here is the instance ID, and here is a log. Everything is succeeded. So you can click on view all instances and refresh the page, so that you see the instance has come up. Okay, and see now the name that I gave is test instance. Every instance has a unique ID, instance ID. So this ID can be used in automations, or when you are using CLI, command line interfaces. So this is referred, because you can change your name as and when you want, but you cannot change the instance ID. Okay, it cannot be changed. It's a one time, like the moment you provision, Amazon assigns a unique instance ID, and that will be there as long as your instance is up and running. Or state, it is running state, so there is no issue, so it is up and running. And the type T2 Micro, and these things. So yeah, that's all guys. So any questions, let me know, and see you in the next session. So in the next session, I will show you how to connect to our EC2 instance and various methods we use for connecting to EC2 instance. Thank you.